Good evening. So we are continuing with the Uddhava Gita. So this is verse 23, chapter 23, verse 29 onwards. Yesterday we had understood an example which Krishna had given to Uddhava, that a mind from whom activity and desire is not eradicated. Suppose you have not removed from your mind activity and desire, then if you are interested in the spiritual enlightenment or moving on the path of spiritual, it becomes very difficult, because attachment to everything in this world is a big problem. So we are going to do one verse further than that. That was verse 28. We are doing Uddhava Gita chapter 23 verse 29. Those unsuccessful yogis who have been led astray by obstacles in the shape of men, dispatched by the gods for that purpose, practice on account of their previous habit, yoga alone in their future life, and not an extension of work. Now, let us say in your previous life, if you have had a lot of association with people around, that means family members, relatives. Maybe you are a married man or a married woman. You had children, relatives like, say, your in laws, friends, colleagues, and they have been responsible for you falling down on the path of yoga. Now, here Krishna is giving a caveat which is so important, which you need to listen to. If you have been progressing on the path of spiritual, let us say you have got into spiritual. Now let us see what he says. These people are obstacles in the shape of men, which means, let us say you have parents, a mother and father, or you may be a married man or a married woman. So you have a spouse, you have children, some relatives of yours, maybe your in-laws or maybe your brothers, sisters, or there may be some people who may be attracted towards you, or rather you are attracted towards them. These people have been dispatched by the gods for the purpose of derailing you from the path of spiritual. Can you imagine that? The gods, demons also, of course, these gods, these are demigods. Demigods, as you know, they are not the Almighty, they are basic gods which are there in the material world. These are small gods which you pray to on a day-to-day basis. These gods, they don't want you to reach the path of liberation or realization. They don't want you to reach Krishna. And their basic aim in life is to derail you. They want you to fail in your path. Now Krishna is giving this answer. Why do you think these gods are doing this? Can you imagine why they are doing it? It is like this. If you are on the path and they are not on the path because they are forced to do their job. Suppose there is a job meant for the purpose of teaching, or somebody has been given a job of distributing finance, or someone else has been given a job of construction. These are gods, demigods, and they are doing their jobs over there. And they see that you are getting away, going away to Krishna. They don't want you to go. They are very particular. They don't want you to leave and go. They want you to fail. So that if you fail, then you will become an ordinary person. Then they can select people like you for doing all their dirty work. Who have been led astray by obstacle in the shape of men, dispatched by the gods for that purpose. Think. Deliberately, there are gods which take narcotics, drugs. I'm sure there are lots of gods which are always lost in the world of, drugs and all those kind of things. There are these gods which you will always find they are completely lost in their own world. Now imagine, you are there on the path of going towards Krishna. What they will do? They will deliberately send someone in the form of a person and they will say, why don't you try this drug out? Try this out, try this out. It's very nice. You will reach God, So human beings tend to fall for that. They think that, taking a drug or taking a joint and then blowing means you will reach ecstasy. Ecstasy is nothing to do with God. But yet the understanding is, this God is always in ecstatic state. So Krishna is warning you over here. He says, these unsuccessful yogis who have been led astray, they have been derailed, they have been thrown away from their path by men, in the shape of men, dispatched by these gods themselves. These gods deliberately put people on your path so that you get pushed out of this path of reaching Krishna. They don't want you to reach Krishna. It could be your own parent. He will say, what is there in Krishna to see? You are only supposed to take care of your family and work. They will tell you this. They will also say that now that you are a married man, you should not do this kind of a thing. You cannot go on the path of, what is this Krishna, Krishna all day? That person, that parent of yours, could be a father, could be mother, could be your own sister, could be your own brother, or whoever it might be, your own wife. She will also blackmail you. They have been sent by these demigods. These demigods deliberately sent, so that, dispatched by the gods for the purpose, practice on account of their previous habit. Do you understand? So you have to be very careful and not fall for it. Don't fall for that. So what are you supposed to do? You have to follow the path of yoga. Yoga means union with God, union with Krishna. So you have to let go of all these people and say, no, don't come and trouble me. Don't tell me. Now those who have read the huge volume of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, you will find that there are lots of young boys and people who wanted to be with Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Their own father or mother, somebody's wife, some relative, kept on becoming a stumbling block for that person. Even Rakhal was married off twice. Vivekananda was constantly, he was called Narendra, by the way. He was constantly told, you have to go and work. Your job is to take up a job. You should make money. Your parents are poor. You are losing court cases. Okay? And then there was one judge who came and he said, come, my dear Narendra, sit next to me. You know what? I want you to get married to my daughter. I will make you a ghar jamai. Means, I will give you my own house. You can stay in my house. They were lured. Right from Narendra to Rakhal, who is Swami Brahmananda, to everybody was lured. And they were told, you don't do this. And it happens in everybody's life. Let me assure you this much. If you are on the path of spiritual, there are going to be obstacles. Your own parents, your relatives, your friends will look at you and say, what are you doing, man? Don't fall for this crap. What Krishna, Krishna you are doing? So Krishna is deliberately telling us this verse. So, if you fall like that, so then what happens? Krishna says, in the next life, that is what he says, in the next life, you will be put on the path in such a manner so that you follow the track of yoga, union with me. But then why is a person wanting a next life or the next life? Don't bother about thinking that there is going to be a next life where you are going to become a human being. Who has guaranteed you that you are going to be a human? You know? And you are going to be on the path of Krishna's devotion. Do you really think you are going to be there? So why waste your life? This life is critical. This one, right here and now. Don't fall for these people. Remember, these people who are putting so many obstacles in your path, who are your own relatives, friends, they are the secret, the CIAs and the KGBs sent by these demigods. So you better be careful. Don't fall for their, hook that they are giving you and say, okay, don't want all these things. I am going to stay away from all these things. So I hope you understood. All right. So otherwise, unnecessary, you have to come back again. You have to be on the path of Sattva Guna. You have to come back again. You have to be born again. Then you have to again start your work, trying, in devotion to Krishna and so on and so forth. It's unnecessary waste. So now let us go further than that. So we are doing chapter 23 of the Uddhava Gita. This is verse 30. It is the body which, directed by something, works and it's modified till death. But the man of realization, with his desire quenched by experiencing the bliss of the Atma, even though he is in the body, is not affected by work. This is something which I have to tell my dear students, my dear friends, those who are with me. Whereas my world is concerned, any person who comes to me, I tell them very clearly, you have been brought here in this world so that you can do certain job, which is your swadharma. So do your swadharma. Don't run away from a swadharma. That means if you have been brought in this world so that you can perform a certain act, let us say you are a cobbler, you are an IT specialist, I don't know, I'm just giving examples, or you are an engineer or somebody like that. When somebody like that comes to me, I tell them, you continue with your job, or you take up a job, become very good at what you are doing, but be completely detached from it. Don't get bothered about whether you pass or you fail. See, your job is to put 100% effort in what you are doing. This is what I always tell people. You should put effort. You may not like it. You may be working for a bank also. Doesn't matter. You may be working for some company, an IT company or something like that. Put all your efforts in it. Really work very hard. But don't bother about the fruits. Which means do your work diligently. What you are going to get, why are you bothered? That fruit is not in your hands, never in your hands. Along with you, there may be 10 other people working. They become very successful. They must be, using a lot of butter to butter their bosses. And they may become great. And they may get, promotions and all that. No, you don't bother about it. Your job is to do your job perfectly, do it. And focus on what you are doing. But now here comes what I say to people. You better have single pointed devotion to Krishna. What does it mean? It means you hold on with one hand the feet of Krishna and with the other you do your material worldly jobs. Okay? See, there are lots of people in India and the world, and they believe that you have to go and stay in a place like an ashram or some kind of school or something like that. And what do you do over there? Get up in the morning, do some yoga, do some pranayama, go for your breakfast, have your bath, your daily ablutions, and then do some kind of a thing over there. And the whole day you waste over there doing nothing. And you say that, yes, I did so much of work. What work are you doing? Can you see your own productivity over there? You are not learning anything. Have you read any scripture over there? Has that guru ever taught you personally, handheld, and taught you anything? He has not taught you anything. Then you may be there 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then you get frustrated and then you walk out of that place. Why? Because you haven't learnt anything, you haven't gone anywhere. What you know is some stupid activities which they call it as kriya, yoga, pranayama, and all that nonsense. And then you go out and then you are a totally frustrated person. You don't like what is happening around you. No, that is not what is called joining an ashram and all that. Sir, that is not correct. I want you to think, who is the highest guru in the world? Krishna himself is the highest guru. Did Krishna start any ashram for anybody? The highest God in India, everybody says Jai Ram, Shri Ram, isn't that? Do you think Shri Ram started any ashram? Okay, I'm going to start an ashram. He never started any ashrams and all that. So please remember this. The concept of ashram is not for a person to get lost in this. No, you got to do your work. Wasn't Krishna doing his work? He was an administrator. He was a king. He was a kingly person. He took part in all the activities that are needed for running a successful kingdom. Similar to Shri Ram. Shri Ram had to go to the jungles and then come back after 14 years. After that, he ruled his kingdom. Now, I will ask you this question. Where did he do anything called yoga, pranayama, and all these utter nonsensical things? Do you think he had time for all that? Or was he ruling his country? He ruled his country diligently, but lost in the divine. That is what he's talking about. A person who is lost in his own Atma. And here Krishna is giving you this clear indication. Don't get involved in all these things. Do your work. Wherever you are, do your work. Take the case of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Take Ramana Maharshi. Take Sai Baba. Or, Kabir. You name all the big people in the last 200 years, 300 years, you will find that they never told anybody, Sab chhod chake, leave everything and come and become a sannyasi over here. Nobody was allowed to become a sannyasi. Even Ramakrishna Paramahansa never said you take sannyasa. Not a single word he ever said. It is later on that Swami Vivekananda and Rakhal, who became Brahmanand Swami, they started Ramakrishna Mission. That's a different story. They are different people. But this great saint, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, never said that you have to do. He was telling everybody, yes, you have to work. Everybody, including Girish Ghosh. Girish Ghosh is the person who owned the Star Theatre. And one day Girish Ghosh told him, I want to leave everything and go. I want to give it to the younger generation and I want to go. Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, no, nothing doing. You have to give this place its due. And Girish Ghosh was one of his greatest devotees who reach enlightenment. There was one doctor. There was M, who is Mahendranath. Think about it. Surendra, whose name was Suresh. There were so many people who were there with him who got enlightened. He never told them that you go and become a sannyasi. Similarly, Sai Baba himself. Sai Baba never told my grandfather or my great-grandfather, leave everything and come and do this, become a sannyasi. He never said that. My great-grandfather, though he used to visit Shirdi very often. You see, there was a direct train from Mumbai to Manmad. Okay, it is still there, I think. It goes in the middle of the night. It leaves at around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock from the other railway station. It goes up to Manmad. It is Manmad passenger or something like that. Early morning you reach Manmad. From there take a bus and go to Shirdi. That was what he used to do. Even Chandorkar. Chandorkar was in Kalyan. What are you saying? You think these people became sannyasis? They are enlightened people. But they never left anything, and this is what Krishna is talking about. It is the body which, directed by something, works and is modified till death. But the man of realization, which is desire, quenched by experiencing the bliss of the Atma, even though he is in a body, is not affected by work. Even a person who is a realized person should never get affected by work, because work is important. You have to do what you got to do. You may be working somewhere. You have to work, sir. If you have a father or a mother to take care of, who is saying you shouldn't? Unless and until you want to wear ochre color clothes and go to the Himalayas or some such place and become a sannyasi. That is why my first question to everybody who comes to meet me, I ask them, do you want to become a sannyasi? Then the path is different. But if you want to become a yogi, that is a different path, sir. You can be a yogi living in the material world also, and also becoming a great devotee of Krishna. It is a body which, directed by something. What is this something? Something means there is a kind of a work that you are doing. Body is directed by the work. Suppose you are maybe a weaver, just like, there was a weaver. I'm sure you know Kabir. He was a weaver. Was he not weaving? Or you may be a shopkeeper. Imagine a shopkeeper. Like Tukaram Maharaj. Santa Tukaram was a shopkeeper. He had a shop. Who says you cannot be? So you may be anything. So that particular thing, that work you are doing, right? So what work you are doing? Maybe you are a shopkeeper, you are selling stuff in the shop. Okay. I was also selling. Do you think what do you think I was doing? I was also selling stuff, but for me to get money in the hands was very tough. I never used to sit on the billing counter, because I used to be I don't want to make money. So I would leave that counter and I would run away to my hiding place down there. So I had a go down where I would be closeting myself and not wanting to be in the world. But I would do every job. Right from maintaining all the inventory to to production. I used to look after my production. Everything. I would maintain the books also. But lost in my godown in my own self. Because the work was needed. So I used to do that. And then my Gurudev gave me a different path. My job was to teach. So I came on the teaching path. So even today, am I not teaching? So, directed by something, works and is modified till death. Modified till death. What is this modified? That means you are supposed to be modified by what you eat, drink, and whatever that is there. Now let us say you are a butcher. You are a butcher. Or you may be a tanner. Tanner, I hope you understand. The person who tans the, chamda, the skin. of cows and all those animals. So you are a tanner. You are tanning this. Now, while you are tanning this, what is the modification that happens to you? Full day you are tanning. Okay? The food that you eat is modified by what you are doing. Okay, the kind of food that you eat could be anything. Like say for example, Tukaram Maharaj, his food was bhakri. You know, bhakri means the, I don't know, jawar bhakri. Maybe you should Google it and see. Flatbread, English. Flatbread, a little bit of chili, a little bit of, onion or something like that, a chutney, that's it, and water. I mean, that was the food he would take. I mean, just imagine that. That is all. And the tanner story, do you know whom I'm talking about? That was the guru of Mirabai, Sant Raidas, or Ravidas as he is called sometimes. He was a tanner till he died. So he was modified, modified with the kind of food that he had to eat and the work that he was doing. Naturally, imagine you are a saint and you are doing tanning work. Huh? Or you are a saint and yet you are selling goods. Acha, charane ka ghee dena, ye dena. That kind of work. You are doing that work. Are you not doing that work? Or Kabir. Kabir was told to sell cloth. Just imagine that. He used to weave the cloth and sell it. I mean, imagine that. Who says you cannot do that? You are allowed to do that. So Krishna is saying, if your body is like that, directed by something, like you are selling cloth, works and is modified till death. Till death, your body is getting modified, or whatever you eat also. But the man of realization, he is the man of realization. All these people that I named are men of realization. With their desire quenched, they don't have any material worldly desires. See, they don't want to make money, they don't want to make a big bungalow for themselves and live in a rich place or have cars and vehicles and horses and carts and this and that. They are not interested. They're not interested in having gold jewelry, all that kind of thing. They don't want somebody to come and say, oh, you are such a rich man. No, they are not even interested. They are least bothered about it. So these people, what they used to do, their desire was quenched. What was the desire getting quenched by? Losing themselves in the bliss of their own Atma. 24 bar 7 they were lost in their Atma. Now we are going to do a next verse where I will tell you how they are lost. So just wait for it, okay? So they would be completely doing their work on one side. One was a tanner, huh? One was a weaver, one was a shopkeeper. Like that, they will do their work. Like Guru Nanak, he's like a farmer. I'm sure those who have gone to across the border to Kartarpur and all and seen that the whole field was there. He had told everybody. And farming and basic activity. Or Guru Gobind Singh, who was like an army general, great person. Like, who says you cannot do? So they were doing all their jobs. But they were completely lost in the self. Being lost in the self while doing their job. With these desires quenched by experiencing the bliss of the Atma, even though in that body, even though if they are in that body, doesn't matter, they are in that body which is a material worldly body, but they are not affected by work. They will never get affected by work. Work they will keep on doing. Alright? So for today's yoga, Krishna is saying, even to Uddhava was one of the members of the Yadava clan. He never told Uddhava, leave everything and go away. No. This is a story of Uddhava himself. He told Uddhava, you have to be a good guy, Go do your work, whatever. You may be in administration, doesn't matter. Do your administration. But you have to be lost in the self. Okay, so this is what Krishna has said. So now we will do the next verse. So we are doing the Uddhava Gita, chapter 23, verse 31. The man whose mind rests in the Atma does not even know the body as it stands, sits, walks, lies down, eats food, or performs any other natural function. He's literally sleepwalking through the whole process. I mean, just imagine this man who is completely lost in the self, and you are asking this man, how does the food taste? Do you think he is even in a position to answer? He will say, oh, it's very good. He will say like that. So, it is very hot, no, today? Yeah, it is very hot. It is very cold. Yeah, it is very cold. So, this man whose mind is resting in the Atma does not even know the body functions. He has no clue. Remember, he is not the body. And because he is not the body, he may be just, his mouth must be moving like this, like this, like this, or he must be just talking to you, or maybe he's cracking jokes at you, or saying something very funny. You know, Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say something very funny. He says, when all these youngsters come, no, I tell them some non-vegetarian jokes. So it is so funny. Just imagine. So he says, these youngsters know when they come, I have to tell them their non-vegetarian jokes. And deliberately he will talk in their language. Even Sai Baba was like that. Sai Baba's joke was very funny, let me tell you. Because my grandmother used to tell me all these stories. And my Baba was a part of our family only. Because we were a part of his family. Think about it like that. He would use all four letters. Doesn't mean that you have to use. Otherwise, you'll say, Baba use karte the to, I will also use. No, 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 no. He's a realized being, okay? And he would say anything. And he would make a lot of fun, a lot of mischief, lot of fun. A person who was completely lost. Now think, if there is a person like this, then this is what it is. His mind is lost in the Atma. He does not even know what his body is, whether he stands, sits, walks, lies down, eats food, or performs any other natural function. Now think about it. A realized being is literally like a marionette, is literally like a person who is like a robot, robot. Huh? The robot doesn't know he's doing those functions. So it's the same thing with these great guys. They don't actually do anything. They don't have a mind which is lost in that work. So even if you talk to them, they will give you some answers. The answers will be perfect. Let me tell you, Deshuma, the answers are going to be perfect. But they are not there. They are not there. This is funny, isn't it? And this is what Krishna is telling us. These people, though they are doing all the jobs of eating, drinking, sleeping, and any other body function, they may be doing anything. Doesn't really matter. Because they are not there. The man whose mind rests in the Atma doesn't even know. He doesn't even know if his body does any functions like that. Got it? This is the strange part about these enlightened beings. Alright, so now we go to the next verse. We are doing Uddhava Gita, chapter 23, verse 32. Even if the illumined man sees the object of the outgoing sense, he does not consider them as something real and other than the self, because they are rejected by inference on account of their multiplicity, as a man on waking from sleep dismisses the vanishing dream perceptions. All right, sounds like a little bit difficult verse. No, don't worry, I'll just make it simple for you. Now this person, even if this illumined man, now this is an enlightened person, an illumined person, what happens to him? He sees these objects of the outgoing senses. Now, he may be watching a beautiful movie. Huh? He may be watching Jab We Met. Alright, or it may be some other good movie. Alright, Bajirao Mastani, or something like that. Or he may be watching The Avengers. Some great movie he is watching, let us say. So, this illumined man who sees the object of by the outgoing senses, the senses are seen. With his eyes he is watching. With his ears he is hearing. Hmm? With his nose, maybe he's smelling. What? Maybe there is a popcorn being brewed. You know, when you go to the theater, you have popcorn and soft drinks and stuff like that. And everybody is eating the samosas and all that. And yeah, of course, you think the smell doesn't go all over the place? Of course it goes. When you hear people doing crunch, crunch, crunch with the popcorn, you can hear the sound, you can smell that thing, and there they see their nose is definitely getting the smells. The ears are listening to the things happening. The eyes are seeing that thing happening over there. But do not consider them as something real. They never consider these objects as real. It is like the movie played over there. The Avengers. Do you think it is real? It is not. Even the sound that is hitting their ears is not real at all. Even the smell that they get, even the taste that they may be having, none of these activities are real. Because in their world, they are non-existent in their body. Right? I want you to think in a manner, like in today's day and age, artificial intelligence. I want you to think about it. Let us say you have designed a robot like the Boston Dynamics type. You have designed a robot with your own brain. With your own intellect, you have designed the robot. You have made the robot exactly like a replica of yourself. Huh? And that robot is going to do all the work. And you will say, go get my food. And the robot will go to the kitchen, make the food, bring it and serve it to you. Are you doing the job? No. You are not doing anything. The robot is doing the job. Your entire knowledge is in the robot. Did you get it? The entire knowledge of yours is in that robot. The robot is performing the actions without your interference or without your knowing. He is just going, you're just giving him the command. He just goes to the kitchen, prepares maybe a sandwich, and he brings you a bottle of Coke. I'm just saying in the modern context, just imagine, he brings you that and he serves it to you. He's doing that. Where are you involved? You are not involved. It's your knowledge which made that thing happen. So where is your actual involvement in it? Not there at all. Now think like that. These are examples, these are material worldly examples, but for you to decipher what actually happens with these great realized beings. The realized beings is like a robot. He is programmed to eat, drink, make something, do something. The senses are working outside over there. But he is not there in the body. The big man upstairs, Shri Krishna is driving him. He is the intelligent person who is making this robot go and do all the work. Did you get it? Krishna is getting his job done through that person. So where is that person actually in the body? He is like a robotic person, like that. He doesn't do those kind of noises. But I'm just saying, I hope you understood the meaning of what I say. It's a very simple way of understanding. So the body performs all actions by its own. And that is what he says. Now see the verse. Now you will understand what I am saying. Even if the illumined man sees the object of the outgoing senses, he does not consider them as something real and other than the self. God has given him the job of doing that job, so he just does it. Because they are rejected by inference on account of their multiplicity. These objects that appear in the world, they are appearing because of multiplicity. We did this multiplicity in the same chapter earlier, I'm sure. I don't want to explain that in detail, but it is like a dream, you're just sleepwalking in your dream. Ooh, like that, okay? There is nothing happening there. He is literally going in a dream, as if in a dream. He is dream walking. That's what he says. As a man on waking from sleep dismisses the vanishing dream perception. These are all dream perceptions. So he may be eating popcorn, he may be watching a movie, he may be looking at someone, or his wife may be sitting next to him, or his children may be there next to him. But all that is appearing like a dream to him. It's multiplicity. And then because he's enlightened, he knows all this is unreal. It doesn't actually exist. He's like a man who wakes up from a dream. He knows that what was dream was unreal. What is real? Discrimination is the word. Knowing the real from the unreal is called, the word is called discrimination. Who is real? Only Krishna is real. Rest everything in this world is false. Isn't that what we did in the Uddhava Gita and the Bhagavad Gita, which we will do tomorrow now? What does Krishna say? Here he is telling Uddhava, there he is telling Arjuna. He says this world of multiplicity is all nonsense. When you get enlightened, all this will appear like a dream to you. So don't worry. He tells Arjuna over there in the Bhagavad Gita, go lift your arrow bow and shoot. Don't bother, you are going to kill somebody or something. You are supposed to do that job, sir. Do it. Do it to the best of your ability. Likewise, here he is telling this yogi who is enlightened does his job just in a mechanical way. But he does it perfectly. Alright? But he knows that he is not the body, he is just doing the job. That's it, period. I hope you understood this verse. Okay? So now we move to the next verse. Alright. So, we are doing Uddhava Gita, chapter 23, verse 33. Formerly, before illumination, the effect of the nescience, diversified by the gunas and the works, my friend, were taken as mixed up with the self. They are again dissolved on the way of dawning of knowledge, but the self is neither accepted nor discarded. Okay. Now, here in this case, Shri Krishna is telling, formerly, before a person becomes enlightened. Got it? Now, most of you are on the path of spiritual. How many of you are enlightened? So, if you are not enlightened, before you are enlightened, so before the enlightenment may not have still come to you. So, before you are enlightened, the effects of the nescience, that means what? The body and every other thing that you see is so real, isn't it? Huh? If I pinch you also, it will, why are you pinching me? You'll say these words, right? All these effects. You see a beautiful girl, you'll follow her by your eyes. Isn't that what you will do? You get a nice drink, Coca-Cola or Pepsi or something. You want to drink that. Don't you want to drink that? Yeah. So, thanda. Everything you want, cold, right? That is because nescience. You really have no clue about it. Before enlightenment, you will be going through all these things. He says, it is diversified by the guna and the verse. What is this gunas? Oh, this is a nice drink, it is cold now. And sometimes when you go to all these, big places where they have their, and you find that the most of the drinks are totally flat. There is no gas in it, there is no flavor in it, it is plain water. And you will go and tell that fellow, hey, what is this, man? What kind of drink you are giving? This is a stupid drink. Don't you say these words? It is the effect of the gunas. The gunas are telling you this drink is not good. See, sometimes good, sometimes mid, average, sometimes it is very good. Like that. The things which gunas are tainting. Sometimes you will find sattva guna there. Sometimes it is raja guna. Sometimes it is tamo guna. So all activities are driven by these gunas. These gunas are directing these activities. They are saying this is like this, that is like that. So all these gunas are there. So what happens? My friend was taken up as mixed with the self. So you thought, whatever is happening is happening to the self also. See, meditating. I was meditating. You say these words. Myself was meditating. Sir, meditation and that, the self, no way connected. Yoga. I was doing Hatti Yoga. I was doing Kriya Yoga. It is no way connected to that real thing. Okay? What you are doing is for your body. And body, as you learnt in the last 3 verses, body is unreal. Body is literally like you can do whatever you want. You can stand on your head also. Or you can become Gal Gadot and fly in the air also, like Wonder Woman. Doesn't make any sense. You think she's flying or what? They are using rope tricks, you know. They are stringing her by rope and they are making her fly, and then they will delete those ropes by means of all that visual effects. It's like that. So all that is happening to you, all this nonsense that happens in your world, you think it is done by the self, where self is not even involved in the process. How can self be doing that? All your yoga, toga and everything, all the utter nonsense that you learn in whichever place that you go, is not, the self has nothing to do with it. That is what Krishna is saying. My friend, they are taken up as mixed up with the self. These activities which you do, you think the self was doing it. The self was involved with it, is mixed with it. They again dissolve at the dawning of knowledge. Once you become enlightened, you know self is no way concerned with all these things. Why is the self concerned with all this nonsense? The self is not even interested in what you are doing. He is totally detached. Like Tukaram Maharaj. See, lost in the self, but the body is doing all the work. Didn't we do that in the verse? Walking, talking, this, that. Maybe he's digging his nose also, for all you know. What does it matter? You think he's doing something wrong? He doesn't even know he's doing that. Because he is the self. Did you get the point? If you are a self-illumined person, you won't even bother about all these activities. You won't bother about going to some Himalayas or something. You aren't least bothered about it. You think all these great sages and sages, they went to Himalayas or what? Nobody went. All these sages and saints of the yesteryears, Ramana Maharshi, you think he went to some Himalayas? He never left his place where he was, Arunachala. Okay? Tiruvannamalai. He was there only sitting all his life. Ramakrishna Paramahansa maximum went up to Banaras and Vrindavan and came back. That is it. Once only. He never went anywhere. You don't have to go. Sai Baba also never travelled. Nobody travelled. Nityanand Maharaj of Ganesh Puri, what do you think he did? He went only from one place to the other place and settled in Ganesh Puri, which is called Vajreshwari, by the way. That is it. So they don't have to travel, they don't have to do anything. So here, because they are not the body, they don't have to do yoga or any of these things because they are not the body. It is the body which needs to do all that utter nonsensical stuff. And by doing that, you are not going to reach the self, sir. No way. No way are you going to reach anywhere. It is written only in the recent books because they want to sell yoga. Okay. If I want to sell something to you, I make a nice soft drink and I want to sell something to you, I will tell you it is very good for your health. Like people have stopped drinking milk nowadays. Vegan. I am a vegan. What vegan, sir? All these donkeys years, so many thousands and thousands of years, people were drinking milk and suddenly you have become vegan. From which angle are you vegan, sir? Listening to some Megan, you become some vegan. Don't listen to all the Megans of this world. Alright? They are con Megans. So, Krishna used to say, drink the milk, doesn't matter. What is the maximum that will happen to you? I don't know. Nothing is going to happen. So whatever happens, that you and the doctor knows. I don't know. So, so he says, if you are the self, nothing happens to you. But the self is neither accepted nor discarded. He says, because of the dawning of the knowledge, all this gets dissolved. None of these activities are done by any self. So why is self being always credited? I did it like that. Nobody is doing all that. The self is never in meditation or something like that. What this meditation and I will reach the self? Nothing like that is going to happen. So the self is neither accepted nor discarded. Krishna is telling, what is the self we think is accepting or discarding? He is least bothered. The self is lost. You are lost in the self means what? You are gone inwards. You are the self. You will not even bother about the body. Let the body do its job, no? Eating, walking, drinking, sleeping, this, that, all it will do. So for an enlightened person, it is like that. We'll do the next verse now. We are doing Uddhava Gita, chapter 23, verse 34. Just as sunrise takes away the veil of darkness from the man's eyes, but does not create anything, so the knowledge of me, that is the Atma, if skillful, takes away the darkness from a man's intellect. So beautiful it is. When the sunrise comes, you get to see the whole world around you, isn't it? It removes only the darkness. But does it create anything? You see, if you are going out and you see some trees and foliage and all that in the sunshine, but in the night you may not see anything. Do you think when the sun rises and is covering the land, that object he made it? No, nothing like that happened. The sun didn't produce that object. The object already existed. The sun is only illumining it, just making the light come on. That's it. So he says exactly like that. The knowledge about me, that means my knowledge about Krishna, knowledge about the Atma, it takes away the darkness from a man's intellect. That's it. It doesn't create me or it doesn't create anything. It just takes away the ignorance from you. The covering. Like the darkness is covering outside, let us say. And when the light comes on, you see the objects in front of you. Correct? In the same way. Exactly in the same manner. An illumined person who is there. Alright? He comes to know about Krishna. That's it. Doesn't make anything come and go. Objects are still there. What difference does it make to a person? So an illumined person will do all his work. All the jobs he will do, just like he was doing before. He may just do what he's supposed to do. But illumination, that means enlightenment, will just give him the knowledge about Krishna, knowledge about Atma. That's it. I hope you understood that. So we go to the next verse now. We are doing chapter 23, Uddhava Gita, verse 35. The Atma is self-effulgent, birthless, unknowable, knowledge, absolute, omniscient, one, indivisible, and beyond speech. For under his direction, speech and the pranas function. Now this verse we have done many times in all the scriptures. What is this Atma? Atma is self-effulgent. That means what? It has a light of its own. It is enlightened by itself. The Atma, the soul, it's enlightened by itself. It is birthless. It doesn't die. It is continuing taking up bodies after bodies after bodies. Just now you have a human body. After this you may become a cockroach. After that you may become a giraffe. After that you can become a fish. Then you can become a bird. Who knows? The same Atma is going through all these bodies. It's like a string in a pearls. The string of pearls. Only the string is real. The pearls are there. The beads are there. So the beads are different bodies. While the one thing which is common in it is called the Atma. It is the same thing. That means it is birthless. It doesn't have birth before and after. So those who are born, your Atma was not born at birth, sir. The Atma was already there and it is millions of years old. You are just now taking up a body. That is why you are starting your age at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But Atma, I don't know, he may be a million or a billion years old. Who knows? You are not 1 year old or 2 year old. You are a billion and 1 year old, billion and 2 year old, billion and 3 year old. Then why are you thinking that you are only so young? There are some people in my world who will say, I did not understand. I am only such a young person. I am only 25 years old. Okay. You are not 25. You are billion plus 25. Okay. So don't tell me you are 25 years old. Just because you took up this body just now doesn't mean you are 25 years. It's like the cars that you buy or the two-wheelers that you buy. You buy one two-wheeler, after some time the two-wheeler goes away. Then you buy another one. Then you buy another one. Then you buy another one. So when you keep on buying these two-wheelers all the time, at that point in time, what happens? When a new two-wheeler comes, it's okay. It's like when you have a cell phone, what do? One cell phone, another cell phone, another cell phone, another cell phone. In the last 10 years, you might have changed at least 5, 6, 7 cell phones. Are you not transferring the data from one cell phone to the other, 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 to the other? So imagine like that. Atma is like a data and cell phone is like a body. New cell phone, new body, new body, new body, new body. But data is continuing. Got it? Hope you understood that. It is unknowable. You cannot actually know Atma. It is knowledge absolute. It is absolute knowledge, perfect knowledge. It is omniscient. It knows everything. One indivisible. You cannot break it down into pieces and say, he's got one Atma, you have got one Atma, so many. There are 100,000 Atma, billion Atmas. Nothing like that. There is only one Atma. And that one Atma is called Paramatma. And Paramatma cannot be chopped into bits and pieces and say, ek tere ko, ek mere ko. This is for you, this is for me, this is for you. You can't do that kind of a thing. Okay? So don't be under that impression that you got distribution. It's one Atma only. And it is beyond speech. And under its direction, speech and the pranas function. Beyond speech. It doesn't need speech to express itself. It doesn't have to say, I am the Atma. It's not like those horror stories that they show on all those channels, okay? मैं आत्मा बोल रहा हूँ. There's no Atma telling you anything. It doesn't have speech by itself, okay? Atma doesn't speak. But it has the ability to transfer the speech. That means it is under the direction of the speech and the pranas. Under its direction, you can talk. And your pranas can function. I hope you got this. Atma is beyond everything and it is only one. Everybody who says, I have a soul, you have a soul, you have a soul. Nobody has souls, sir. There are no S-O-U-L-S. There is only S-O-U-L. Only one soul. And that is the Paramatma. That is Krishna himself. Got it? So we have come to the verse 35. We will stop over here. And at the end of this week, we will be starting with verse 36 onwards. So thank you very much for joining. And I will see you all tomorrow morning for the Bhagavad Gita Satsang. Tomorrow morning, it is Bhagavad Gita. Tomorrow evening also, it is Bhagavad Gita. See you all. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye.